Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Do Ghosts Be Real. I'm Simon.
I'm Spencer.
And I'm Brett. The thing about it is McDonald.
He's really sticking with that.
Sticking
I
with
love it.
That's
He
his
gave me a nickname, and that's what's sticking.
his permanent moniker.
That's his wrestling name. And look at the getup he's got on
man.
today.
I've gone full out. We are being a little fun and cheeky and going to, well, most of us are Scottish. Our home base
we
is
have
Scotland.
I mean, we have some Scottish heritage anyway. We're all being that we live in Saskatchewan on the prairies of Canada, we're all probably a big mutt mix of something.
I don't know if we're actually Scottish, but we got some Scottish heritage.
We've got
going
some
on.
Scottish heritage, and as you can see, Brett is leaning deep in. Why don't you stand up and give the people a good look at what you've
I'm not
got
going to
on
give a
today.
twirl just based on the fact that I don't want to knock anything over. But you best believe that if we weren't in the setup that we are currently in, I would be twirling.
Is that a McDonald's tartan too?
Yes, sir.
Nice.
Good God. Yeah, he's even got the right tartan on. It's
That's
a
awesome.
sport kilt. He's got so this is like the gym shorts of kilts.
Yeah,
eh?
it's Velcro.
Man,
That's
I
awesome.
can just
that is
like,
very fun.
I can just
That's
like
awesome.
tear it off at a moment's notice.
I'm a little jealous. I wanted a kilt, but man, they're expensive.
These guys, not bad.
Okay.
What's the cost on one of those? What does that run you?
About 150 for a
Oh,
sports
that's
kilt.
not bad at all. I was going to say, like, we're doing the Edinburgh Castle. We're going to Scotland, and I have some stories about it because I've been there. And so when I was in Scotland, I begged my mom to get me a kilt. I should say I was there in like 2004. It's been a while.
And is Garrett the Scottish last name?
No,
which is the Scottish last name?
It's oh god, one of them is Henderson.
Henderson
The
is
clan
okay.
Henderson, and I believe Coleman, which is like an English name but also Scottish. There's a lot of various names in our family.
Yeah, let's be honest though. Like Scottish and English they're so interbred.
intertwined,
with one
very
another.
interbred.
It's
So-
the same with the Irish.
Yeah.
All of us are just inbred, weird white mutts.
Well, I know that
Absolutely.
I have Scottish ancestry, I have Irish ancestry,
Yeah,
and
I'm
then
in
a
the
bunch
same
of
boat.
other stuff
Yeah.
too.
So-
My Scottish last name is Gordon, and I did
Okay.
have a kilt growing up.
Really?
Now, my kilt, however, it was a proper kilt, but it was my mom's kilt from when she was a little kid. So it was a girl's kilt that I was wearing around it because I used to go to all kinds of Scottish events. This
Sure.
was like, I mean, as you can see, I'm the only one not sporting any sort of Scottish pride gear today. He's got his Scotland shirt on. This guy's got
I went a little hard.
his little kilt on here. His cute little
my little dress.
His cute little dress.
Man, I would have if I'd had one.
But I would go to all those events. I wonder if anyone could tell. I think it was a little bit more ruffly. I bet that people who actually had some idea of what they were looking at they probably were aware that I was wearing a girl's kilt.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, what is the difference between a boy's and a girl's kilt?
I have no idea, but
I
there is a
imagine
difference.
There's more pleats.
There were a
Okay.
lot of pleats on
Yeah.
this. Yeah, I was
'Cause,
wearing my friends. I was wearing a legit dress.
a little frilly.
Mine,
Yeah, I was wearing a
mine
skirt.
has pleats as well, but they're not like
They're
crazy.
not everywhere.
Yeah,
but-
I can't recall how many pleats were in it, but I think more than that.
Oh,
That's
for
for sure.
sure.
I do recall one particular event. We went to a Cayley, which was some sort of Scottish barbecue. I don't know.
It was weird.
There's a
but
bagpiping band, the '96 Highlanders, and
Yeah, they're always
they were
there.
drumming and doing all sorts of shit. And then there was a haggis eating competition.
Oh
we
my
couldn't
God.
have been. I don't think were we like 12? How
yeah,
old were we?
some 12 or 13 in and around there.
Yeah, we were-
It was maybe like grade 7.
That
so
sounds right.
12.
Yeah, we were probably 12-ish, and Brett went up against like a 50-year-old man in a haggis eating competition. Somebody needed to. The aim was who can eat haggis 1 pound of haggis the quickest, and you did it in like 2 minutes. You won.
It was
Wow.
So I think the prize was something terrible. I think
Yeah,
it was
it
like a
wasn't good.
coupon to this Scottish
Oh my
store in
God.
town.
It wasn't good.
Why did
wasn't
you
real.
do this?
Because, I mean, I've always had an unhealthy relationship with food. It's called binge eating, and it's a very real problem.
Sometimes you just gotta binge eat a pound of haggis.
Hey, it was free haggis. It is what it is.
I was
Remind
going
me-
to say, I don't want to spend that much on haggis, so the fact I got it for free.
Remind me what haggis is.
So it's sheep.
It's like sheep,
It's
like
sheep
stomach or
organs,
something, right? Okay.
So like heart and stuff like
The
that.
offal.
Sheep meat,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like blended up into a weird sausage
It's like
paste.
it's like emulsion blended or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Like, please, any Scottish people watching this
And
who are
then
deeply
it
offended
is
by our mischaracterization of haggis.
Traditionally,
Isn't there like cabbage in it and stuff
yeah,
too?
there's
Oh my
like
God.
there's spices, there's
Yeah.
rice, there's tons of other stuff in it, but traditionally it is boiled in a sheep's stomach, but
Right.
for health and safety regulations in Canada, you can actually get it that way.
Okay.
I know you can get it in a can. We have.
You know, I didn't.
We know a guy who enjoys that.
I didn't have the balls to try haggis when I was in Scotland, but I did
really
try.
Not bad.
It's really not. Yeah. Okay. You know, I tried blood pudding when I was in Ireland.
That sounds wilder to me.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty good.
Because haggis is basically like a sheep pate kind of.
Yeah, it's kind of like a sheep pate mixed with a sausage kind of consistency.
You said it was
makes
like
sense.
wet and dry.
Yeah, it's a very hard thing to explain because it is both the wettest thing you will put in your mouth, but also the driest thing when you're trying to swallow. So eating a pound of it is brutal.
I can think of some pretty wet things that have been in my mouth.
Oh my. We're getting spicy already. I like it.
Okay, so we're talking about Edinburgh Castle.
And Edinburgh, how is that pronounced? Because, you know, if you're looking at the spelling of it as somebody who has no idea, it's spelled Edinburgh.
Yeah, but it's Edinburgh.
Edinburgh, okay.
Burgh means castle.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's Eden Castle, I guess. And so Edinburgh has basically sprung up around what used to be an old Roman trading post.
Okay.
And there's evidence that this site has been used it's what's called Castle Rock.
Which is a big volcanic plug.
It used to be. It's like an extinct volcano.
Right.
And then it was carved into the shape it is by the Ice Age. As glaciers moved through there, it left like a little tail behind this extremely tough piece of basalt, and it makes basically just the perfect defensible structure. Like it's pretty much impenetrable,
right? Because it's like on the edge of a cliff, and it's this huge rock.
It's like 400 feet high.
There's evidence of it too. Like there's evidence. I think what I had read was that the first human habitation of Castle Rock is not known. They're not 100% certain on it.
Well, I think it was like 1993 or 1997. They did some archaeological digs,
right.
and they found evidence of people going back to
the Bronze Age.
Yeah, the early, late Bronze Age. I think it was like 100 BC,
which is crazy.
So
wacky.
Yeah, so people have been settled there for 3,000 years.
Yeah, that's a long time.
That's far too long.
It is a long time. Now, the earliest fortifications that were on there go back to 1100, so the 12th century.
Okay.
So it's still pretty darn old.
Right. Yeah, I mean it's a whole heck of a lot older than anything that we have here.
Absolutely.
Our history. I mean, of course, there's Indigenous history, which goes back forever and ever. But there's not a lot of written stuff.
European history here, like your max you'll get is 150 years.
Exactly. Like when we were talking old in Canada, we're like, oh yeah, this building's been here forever. It's actually like 120 years.
This building's about 100 years old, and then you go overseas, and they're like, oh yeah, this pub has been around since the 12th century.
Exactly.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Well, it's funny to talk about this too because like I was watching a bunch of stuff about the hauntings of Edinburgh Castle.
Sure.
And one of the phrases that was thrown out a whole heck of a lot was the most haunted castle in Scotland. And now to think that you actually have to designate which is the most haunted one is so nuts to me.
Dude, they are everywhere.
I bet they are. The only thing that we
everywhere.
have that even compares to castles are just McMansions built by doctors and lawyers in the 80s.
Yeah.
We don't have castles.
And
the oldest building here is the Mar Residence, which was a field hospital built in like the 1800s, late 1800s.
I'm really wanting to change that. I want to build a
Let's
damn
build a
castle.
fucking castle, boys. I'm down.
Let's buy a city block.
Let's form, once this podcast is big enough, we're going to form a Joe Rogan like compound, and we're going to have our own little cult, and we're going to build a fucking castle. We're
I
gonna
love
do it.
that.
I'm calling it.
It will be a castle.
10 years from now, we're going to be doing this podcast in a fucking castle.
We're gonna be doing it in like some sort of a turret. We're gonna be in like the 30th floor of some column that we've built.
Exactly.
Yes.
I'm down.
And
Let's
it's
do
all
it.
going to be limestone, and it's going to be beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to be made with the cheapest possible labor we
So,
can.
so you're saying that there are going to probably be a lot of deaths during the
Yes.
construction, so it also will be
It
deeply
will be a
haunted.
haunted castle.
Oh, yes.
And they will be ticked. We're recording in there.
We probably shouldn't be admitting to all this right this early here. If we're this is probably going to be an exhibit in the lawsuit against us for our shoddy setup.
Patreon.com/DoGhostBeReal. Finance our castle.
It's not there yet, but it will be soon, baby. Keep an eye open. Maybe if you're listening to this a year from now, it'll be there. Yeah. Subscribe.
The thing is with the audience, I want to be as transparent as possible. Give us money so we can buy a fucking castle. This is all I've ever wanted. I've been a dork for the Middle Ages for years. I love knights. I love dragons. I love everything.
Brett and I are just gonna live in this castle full time, and we're just gonna. Spencer's gonna walk in one day, and Brett and I are just gonna be doing full regalia sword fighting in the grounds.
As a fat little dork kid, the sport that I envied the most and the sport that I was most excited to get into and did get into deeply was fencing. So I'm all in, baby.
Dude,
I was all about sword fighting.
I really don't think your wife will want to live in a castle, though.
She's not going to be,
she's not maybe be pumped on the castle.
We'll live we won't live next door because this thing's going to cast a real shadow, and Lauren's all about natural light.
Right.
So we won't live probably within super close proximity
of
the castle.
We're taking over 2 city blocks to do this.
Yeah, you guys can live in the castle. It probably is not going to work out for me, but I'll be close by. I'll be in whatever strange glass.
We will build you the nicest room in the castle to entice Lauren to come live in it. Our castle's going to be modern too. It's going to have plumbing, which is something that they didn't have in those castles.
Love that.
No, I just want a poop chute. I want all of our waste to just go on the street.
So are we going for is this going to be are we going to be LARPing full time?
Yes.
Is that what it is?
I mean, speak for yourself.
We're going to buy some fucking...
Man, you already are LARPing.
I am currently LARPing.
We're going to be eating nothing but mutton and ale. It's going to be fantastic.
We will all get gout. This is the key. We will all have the rich person foot disease.
Exactly. Have you guys ever had gout?
No.
I've not had gout, but
I thought I had gout at one point. I had I had some bad kidney pain, and I had some shooting pains in my feet as well. And I did get diagnosed with kidney stones, which are a cousin of gout. So I may have been close. I think I flew pretty close to the sun.
My boy needs to drink some water.
I need to take better care of myself.
Stop gargling with butter.
You gotta.
That really is the problem.
It's fats. I got
the riot act the other day on my cooking. I told Lauren that I was going to cook dinner today, and what she told me yesterday, because we've been not tremendously pleased with where we've been recently. We got some pictures taken at a wedding that were not as flattering as we had hoped, and I weighed myself for the first time in 3-4 months, and I'm up 30 pounds. She when I said I was going to cook dinner today, she's like, yeah, you know what, don't even bother. She's like, the amount of oil and butter that you put in it, I was like, I can put less oil and butter. She's like, you've yet to prove that. So today I'm going to do my best to cook with considerably less oil and butter.
Yeah. You know what?
Just cut.
I think she looks great. I look like shit.
Whatever you're putting in, put in half, and you'll be...
Don't tell me what to do.
You know what? Put in 1/3.
I probably need to be at a quarter, dude. Yeah. When I'm marinating chicken and stuff like that, I'm free pouring, dude. I'm not measuring shit. Canola and olive are going in.
You've watched me cook, and with the eggs, I'm just like, oh, that's not enough butter. Just half a stick of butter in my eggs.
You know what, though? There's a lot of... This is not a cooking podcast, but for a minute, we're going to go into this. There is a lot of evidence to support, actually, that your dietary fat intake and your dietary cholesterol intake do not translate to your blood cholesterol level.
No, they don't.
Or your weight gain. And actually, butter is super good for you. Animal fats are so good.
The problem is, though, is a lot of us also love carbohydrates. So fats on its own are fine. But as soon as you start tossing Doritos on top of that, you start to get a little bit of a belly.
Yeah,
I've been on a real margarine kick rather than butter itself.
Bad.
Yeah,
bonk.
See,
bonk. Bad, Spencer.
I grew up like that. I grew up like butter only. My parents refused to buy butter, refused to buy margarine. If they hear this, that'll be the thing that offends them the most.
Right.
No, it won't be. In any case, but yeah, I grew up butter only, and as an adult, I've been a real big fan of spreading it, and I'm too afraid to leave salted butter on the counter, even though I know you can do it.
Dude, you just get a little butter thing or whatever, a little butter tin. Butter dish. You'll be fine. Okay, my girlfriend grew up in a small town with, her parents did the absolute best, but they had to make do, right? So they did not buy butter because it was more expensive. They'd buy the big tubs of margarine.
Yeah, and you gotta get the Imperial, dude.
She will not.
It's great.
She will not cook with butter. I'll buy butter and I'll be like, there's a real reason for you to use butter in this dish instead of margarine.
It tastes a lot better.
It tastes so much better. And it's better for you. And she'll be like, no, margarine.
I should make it very clear that cooking is a relatively newer thing for me. I think I'm a relatively good cook, but I did baking for the longest time.
Right.
It was my thing that I like to do, and I always use what it calls for.
Right.
Yeah, I never I grew up in a... No, I'm going to get real... No, I'm not going to go down that hole. Anyway, I grew up in a household that did a lot of substitutions.
Sure.
And me as I really... if it calls for shortening, I'm putting shortening in. If it calls for lard, baby, there's lard going in.
You got to do it.
If it calls for butter... We're putting in butter. I'm not putting in margarine. Margarine I like for spreading. But yeah, I should maybe switch to butter.
I make some pretty damn good.
We're not gonna bully you about your usage of margarine.
See,
but we're gonna bully you about your
bully.
use of margarine.
I don't know if y'all know this, but I'm the bully of this podcast.
So how does it feel to be on the receiving end this time?
It feels
you're
good,
on the wrong
man.
side of history.
Spencer,
margarine is not okay.
Spencer, I'm gonna give you some homework.
Please do.
You got to watch Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat on Netflix.
I have heard that's very good.
It's very good. It was so good that I bought the cookbook.
Man, you buy a lot of cookbooks.
Yeah.
My man's the king of cookbooks.
I have a collection of probably it's enough cookbooks that I could do multiple degrees on cooking.
My man's a big fan of Companies Coming.
Yeah, I love to entertain. One day I want a nice big beautiful home that I can have
a nice big stone castle that you can have people over
We've
to
already
and
talked
have
about this. We're having
a banquet table.
Oh yeah, dude. I will cook so much amazing food. You will be so fat. You guys aren't gonna be so fat.
I don't need to get any bigger, dude.
Man, we'll make a dungeon and it'll just be a Bowflex in there.
Exactly. We're gonna have
just be a Bowflex in the dungeon.
We're gonna have mandatory workout periods.
The beef cave.
The beef cave.
That's speaking of that. So the reason why, and if you follow our Instagram, you know what happens. The episodes didn't come out last week when it should have. Late. Well, the old beef cave, my gym, decided to flood a little bit. So I spent the better part of this week peeling back mats and
drying shit
off and spraying everything down with anti-mold. And
to be clear, we're not mad about that.
No,
it's all good.
I understand that. It's just for the listeners, this is the reason why.
Yeah.
Brett was upset
about you.
Brett was real upset.
Brett was choked.
He was trying to push Simon and I to do the cast without him, and DGBR. There may come a time where one of us is not able to do it, and we get a guest in or something like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is DGBR is a 3-man cast.
This is a family project.
It is.
The pieces of the puzzle that make up Do Ghosts Be Real are sweet Brett, salty Spencer, and savory Simon. We need the whole thing to be put together.
It was just like I was so out of sorts because I was like, we need to get this episode. We need to get this. And in reality, you guys are going to enjoy the fuck out of it regardless. So, you know what?
We're 17 minutes deep, and we should probably talk a bit about Edinburgh Castle.
We probably should.
I'm having a good time. Do we want to get some thanks out of the way?
Yeah,
I guess?
Let's do that.
Yeah. We want to say a big thanks to the Cable Casanova, Eric Steiner again, for continuing to put us on Shaw Spotlight Cable. We're on at 10 p.m. in Saskatoon after Strip Down Live. We want to say thanks to some streaming folks. We've had some people. I don't know what it is. They're playing it on Just Chattings or something like that.
Yeah,
people are chatting about it.
Yeah.
Who are we thanking today?
So we're thanking a couple people. My buddy Chris, he goes by Toke Ass Harsh.
Okay.
So follow him on Twitch if you are into Twitch. He streams like Warzone and stuff like that. Cool. And they have like a weekly chat show where they want to highlight new streamers so they can, maybe get a following and start doing it full time like these people are getting close to be able to do. So, they're helping out their community and they're helping out us by playing our podcast.
Yeah, we like that.
Demographic of people that necessarily probably wouldn't watch our podcast.
Yeah.
Hey, when we have our castle, we'll invite them over for dinner someday.
Hell yeah.
We won't, you'll learn about this later,
It'll be
but
very much a red wedding sort of situation.
We won't put a black bull's head on the table.
Yeah.
We'll treat y'all nice. Y'all will make it out of there alive.
Oh yeah.
And then also, I guess, thanks to Kira again for sending us some notes. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks
for your help.
We got a whole dossier to go over today, and
I
mean,
it's always a nice supplement.
We're gonna touch on the history, but we're gonna get into the nitty gritty. And my favorite thing, the ghosts.
Yeah, we like to think that we're a ghost podcast, but this is pretty history dense. So we're gonna try and maybe not smash through it, but we're gonna try and condense some of this stuff. And
absolutely.
And So should I just dive into it?
Yeah, dive on in, baby.
So Edinburgh Castle is probably I'm a history nerd, especially a medieval history nerd. Going to Edinburgh Castle was probably one of the coolest things I've ever done.
Yeah, because you spent some time in Scotland.
I did. Yeah, my sister was there to do her PhD in Gaelic literature.
Gaelic literature.
Yep.
Man, so is she like a classics major or something like that? What is that exactly?
Yeah, I think more like English and literature, and then
and also Gaelic.
And Gaelic, yeah,
which is very funny because it seems like a very dead language.
Well, I mean, there's a reason she was doing a PhD on it. It's pretty specialized.
Gotta keep it alive, baby. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think does Duolingo have a Gaelic option? I'm not sure.
I do not believe so. I'm not sure. I don't think there's a whole lot of people who speak Gaelic, but it's a cool language, and it is the the ancestral language of Scotland.
Right.
And so Edinburgh Castle is built on Castle Rock, as we said. It's this huge chunk of basalt left over from a dead volcano. It's like 400 feet high. I think it's like 430 feet high or something. And because of the way that how tough the rock is, and how the glacier moved through it, it left this little channel of land right behind it, like a tail. And so it's the only way to get up to the castle.
Okay.
So it's a natural defensive point, and it's been used. Maybe the rock itself wasn't used as a trading point, but right around it was used as far back as like 100 BC. It's very old.
Okay, right.
The castle itself they started construction on it in 1100. And it just sort of grew from there. Now, the castle itself is not that old today. The only building in there that's that old is St. Margaret's Chapel. And the reason why is when Sir Robert the Bruce, I believe, or King Robert the Bruce.
Did he have some sort of relation to the Braveheart story?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a statue of him, and there's a statue of Sir William Wallace in the castle.
I'm going to take a minute. The Bruce. What kind of
name is that? What is that?
Bruce?
I think there is a meaning.
There must be some sort of meaning.
There is a meaning.
But y'all won't be finding it here.
Yeah,
guess
we
what?
don't know.
If you want to know the meaning, Google search it yourself. Do what we did.
Yeah, we don't know. However, he played a pretty big role in this castle. So what happened is the English had taken this castle, and they were using it as a fortification. King Robert the Bruce took it back in the most successful raid that has ever happened on the castle. 30 soldiers managed to get rope ladders up on the side of the battlements of the castle. They climbed it, and 30 minutes later, the castle was taken.
And didn't they kill like 100+ soldiers or something like that? It was some mass amount.
They ripped through them.
Castle.
Well, I mean, if we know anything about the English, all they want to do all day is drink tea and sniff the Queen's farts.
I'm not sure that's entirely accurate.
That's entirely true, and I'm saying that as fact. It is law.
They're sitting around eating speckled dick and playing cards. They were sleeping. They were napping.
They might have been.
Now we're allowed to say that because we all probably also have British ancestry.
We're all just European mutts at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. So this raid happened at like 3 a.m, and after the castle was taken, King Robert the Bruce ordered the whole castle burned to the ground, demolished completely, so that the English could not use it.
How do you burn stone?
Well, I think they just there is wood holding the thing up, right?
That does make sense.
It's a wooden structure inside.
I guess you can't.
You can't just build with stone.
Like the walls were.
You know what? I've played Minecraft. I know all about architecture, and I built plenty of stuff out of exclusively stone. So excuse my ignorance.
So the walls are stone,
right?
But they'd have like wooden supports for like the floors and like the roofs, and because you can't make like a roof.
So you could turn this thing into a rubble pile pretty
quick. Yeah, by burning the crap out of it. Now. They spared St. Margaret's Cathedral, and to this day, that is the oldest building in Scotland.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one of the oldest buildings in all of England, actually.
Oh, wow. Okay, in the whole UK.
Yeah, this building is, I'm pretty sure they built this in like 1200, like the 12th, 13th century. This is a very old building.
If you look into the construction of Edinburgh Castle, it does say on it like 11th century, 1100 or whatever, to... present. Yeah, because I guess they must consistently be doing stuff to rebuild and restore and do all that sort of stuff.
Restore it.
Because, absolutely.
I mean, wood rots.
Yeah, absolutely.
It sure does.
It's stone.
It rots. It dries out.
It's sort of like a Ship of Theseus kind of thing. Like, they've been replacing parts of this castle for so long. Is it really the same castle anymore?
Not really. No.
I don't know. I don't know what a ship. What's a Ship of Theseus?
As my old PC, I just started replacing parts.
It's now a different computer.
It's completely different.
So, have you never heard of this? A Ship of Theseus?
No, sir. Educate me.
So the Ship of Theseus is a theory saying, okay, so you have a ship, it's called the Ship of Theseus. A board rots on it, you replace the board. The mast breaks, you replace the mast. It needs new sails. Eventually, years later, the whole ship has entirely new parts, but it's still called the Ship of Theseus.
So what we're talking about is your Hyundai right now.
Exactly.
That's what we're talking about.
If anyone wants to buy a car, I'm selling a car.
Yeah, if anybody wants, what is that, a 2017 Santa Fe?
2016?
2016?
Tucson. It's got a brand new engine in it. We're not going to talk about why it's got a brand new engine in it. but it has a brand new engine in it.
Hey, you hear that, folks? Brand new.
Hey,
if you want a
Hyundais
car.
are really, really reliable, and this particular one is a gem. So come get it.
It's definitely
Come get
a
it,
vehicle
folks. What's
that
the
you can
asking
drive.
price?
I probably like 15,000-16,000.
15, 16,000, $17,000, folks.
It
You can
is
own a 2016 Tucson,
$20,000.
owned by one of the stars of Do Ghost Be
Oh,
Real,
yeah.
which is the
Rare.
selling point.
That is what's adding the value to the vehicle.
It's also still under warranty. It's got like 13,000
There you
kilometers
go.
of warranty
Sweet.
left. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways,
Yeah,
back to
your
the Edinburgh
car just
Castle.
being a ship with Theseus.
So the ship of Theseus is like, is it still the same ship after every part has been replaced? It still looks the same. It's still called the ship of Theseus. But if you took all the original parts off of it, you could probably build a second ship. And that ship would also be called the ship of Theseus, which is the ship of Theseus. So that's the theory of the ship of Theseus. So we're gonna stop saying ship of Theseus.
Ship of Theseus.
It's very fun to say.
And we're going to talk about Edinburgh Castle. So it's been updated. So many rulers have added to this and built things. I believe it was King James, the whatever. I'm sorry. This
The
is
second pot, are we talking about the one who took power when he was 6 years old and then had a regent? Because King James the First was he was in that castle, and I think what the hell, Sir Robert Graham came in and took his ass out. I think also
so.
with a small group of people.
Honestly, it doesn't really matter.
No.
How are you gonna have a 6-year-old run a country?
Well, they did a whole
Dude.
lot of that, and there's one particular. I mean,
was-
should I get into this?
Well, yeah, if you want. There was like the youngest ruler they had was crowned at 13 months.
That is bonkers.
Yeah.
Well, that baby clearly is not qualified for the job at all.
No, however, I'm sorry, guys. Like we've said this before, we're not a history podcast.
No.
This is such a dense subject.
It's
Like,
hard to it's hard to get into.
I could study this for months. So we didn't do that. So I don't know every name and date, but this,
we're not going to probably drop a lot of dates,
No.
period, because it's
No.
just
But
so.
it's-
Because
and-
then you
and
can
we're a ghost
question the
podcast.
validity of it if
Yeah.
we start dropping
So
random dates.
I just want to say quickly though, that ruler who was 13 months old actually turned out to be one of the most successful kings. I think because he had such a he was born into ruling.
He had an affinity for it.
You'd gain a lot of experience over your
And I
decades.
hate when I'm like I'm a year old and I'm already expected to run a damn country.
I love reading about all this because they have had multiple rulers that were
Yeah.
crowned very young as minors for sure, and then they have regents who help them rule or
yeah,
whatever.
and in reality, that
who are
6-year-old
ruling.
Yeah, that 6-year-old is just a figurehead, and they're like, "What do I do, Dad?"
They use, when reading about this particular subject in a lot of places around this period, they use the term boy king a lot, and
Yeah.
boy king is one of the funniest phrases to me. I love calling people boy king.
It's very funny. It's
but
very funny.
I
It's,
guess-
it's always funny to hear you call someone a boy king.
before we dive too deep into before we get too far away from the history, we'll wrap it up real quickly. This castle was sacked. It had been raided like 23 plus times.
I think it's 28. This is
okay.
this is the most fought over place in Scotland.
Damn.
Because it is the the most defensible spot. It's in a
People want to have it.
Yeah, it's in a trade hub. It's there's fertile land around there. Edinburgh is in a great spot.
Okay.
And like I said, people have lived there for 3,000 years.
The Scottish have Scottish have had it. The English have taken it. The Scottish have had it. Then the English have taken it again. Then the Scottish have had it, and the English have taken it. Then the Scottish have had it, and the English have taken it again. And then the Scottish took it back.
And then they burned it down, so the English couldn't take it anymore. But then they rebuilt it, and then the English took it again.
The English love just taking what's not theirs.
The Scots, there's nothing that a Scotsman hates more than another Scotsman.
Yeah, they tend, there's a lot of infighting.
Yeah,
there is, and we'll definitely get into some of that. But what's the state of the castle presently? Because you've been there.
Yeah.
Like, what's it used for now?
It's beautiful. It is an English heritage site. It's a Scottish heritage site. They use it every year.
Is it like a UNESCO spot or something like that?
I don't know about that, but I know
Okay.
it's like one of the it's actually the second most visited historical site in all of England.
Okay.
Like all of, well, I guess should
that
say
the
England,
UK?
but Britain, all of the
Yeah.
UK, yeah,
Because it's not in England.
It's not
right?
England, but it's
Right.
all of the UK.
It's the same thing to us.
Yeah, my buddy Chris, who is English, would be very mad that I said that. But you know what? He's not here, and he doesn't listen, so
It's all good.
It's all good.
It's all right.
Except for that one comment on that one video.
yeah,
But
which
we
got,
won't get into
which
that.
he removed it himself. Apparently, he said some spicy words to us, which we didn't mind. But this is a public forum on that, so
we didn't mind,
Yeah.
but then I looked at it and went, "Yeah, no, I can't have." people
We
doing
love you,
this.
Sleepy Chris, but knock it off.
We're tired of your junk.
he means well.
He sure does.
Okay,
Not
so
with those words.
So is what's there currently? Do they still use it for military
they
purposes?
do. It's mostly ceremonial. Every
Okay.
year, the royal Edinburgh, the Royal Military oh my god, the Royal
Whatever it
Military
is.
Tattoo happens in the Edinburgh Castle. I've been to it, and it was
So are
fantastic.
people getting tattoos? What does that mean?
No, it's it's like a military ceremony. It's
Okay.
like think.
So they're just tossing the word tattoo around fast
Yeah.
and loose. It means something different.
It means
to
something
them.
different.
It doesn't mean like
There's
a
a
big
lot-
tribal moon on the back of your
No.
leg or a big
Excuse
tribal
me.
sun on your
Excuse
shoulder
me.
or anything
Pardon.
like that.
Pardon. I feel attacked.
Spencer,
Hey, you got a
Spencer,
Celtic nod as well.
Yeah, I do.
Spencer bullying Brett again.
Yeah.
Here we go, baby.
Okay,
Or
so
just you wait till the ghosts come get you.
So
They're
the
coming.
Royal Military Tattoo is it's like a massive military show where they show off their military capability. There's there's events and like I remember like I went to this and the Air Force was there. There were jets flying over. There was military guys doing backflips on dirt bikes. It's a cool thing. It's cool.
That is not required at all for military service.
Do all of them have that fun tartan pattern on them? Do they have
There were a lot of kilts.
Yeah.
There
What
were
about the planes? Are they painted up nice and cute too?
I
Do
don't
they have
think
like
so.
a?
I think they were
the
just.
whole
I think they were
tartan?
serious military planes.
Okay.
Yeah.
They weren't
I
goofing off.
didn't even realize Scottish had a military at all. I thought
They
it was just
do.
a
I
think
few
most-
angry guys with bagpipes and shovels.
Most places, except those that are not allowed to have an army for some very specific reasons, do have an army.
Yeah, they do usually. And
You know who we're talking about. You guys are on notice.
So Scotland, being part of the UK, has access to one of the largest militaries in the world.
Okay,
so,
right.
Yeah, so they have some pretty serious military hardware. They like to show that off every year.
which is a very funny thing to do because it's not even theirs. It's the English's.
Well, I think they.
Is it like
I
does
think
the
they
UK all
finance.
have an army? Or are they individual? Or is this like the Scottish army?
I mean, the Scottish army does they do have their own military.
You're
and
the
it's
army
and
guy.
it's a
We
part
don't
of the
know
UK.
shit about that. We like to play Call of Duty.
Yeah,
Is that-
Hey, me too?
If I'm not seeing soldiers slide cancel around corners and jump shot, then they're not actually
Not
military.
happening. So I'm pretty sure they have their own army,
Okay.
their own air force.
They keep jewels and shit at this castle too, do they not?
do, yeah. So if you ever find yourself in the Edinburgh Castle, I highly recommend you take the tour.
Are we planning a heist?
No,
I don't
We
think
are
it would
not.
work out as
It would not work out.
When was the
I'll
last-
grab the chest and run.
We're
No one
not doing
can
an
stop me.
Ocean's 3 here.
Can't stop, won't stop. I'll get it.
When was the last time this castle was sacked? Because I mean, we might
don't-
not have a number on that, but I don't think it's
don't know.
recent.
No, it's not recent.
It
It's
sure isn't recent. I don't think we're gonna.
The
We're
2023, baby. I'm
number
calling
like
it.
1550 comes to mind. Like
Okay.
it's been a long time.
We need to finance our castle somehow. I'm saying we go to that castle, we take their jewels, I yeet it out a window, someone's down there to grab the chest. I know
I'm
what
just
I'm
gonna
doing.
say.
I think you're in. I think you're in big trouble if you do that.
Yeah.
I think you've. I mean, big
you-
sacrifice on your part, but I don't think you're
mean,
getting out. I think you're going to be down in the dungeon with the
Yeah.
the dung ghost.
But like, how are they gonna catch me? Because I'll be in my own.
I think they're gonna fucking
fortifications.
shoot you, man.
No,
like
I'll
there are
be in my
guards
own-
everywhere.
I'll be in my own fortifications. It's
I
fine.
happen to have seen the crown jewels of Scotland,
Oh.
and they are magnificent. They
I'm
are.
saying we need to take them.
They are. This is not something you could put a number on. These are priceless gems.
We don't have any crown jewels in Saskatchewan.
No, we don't have them.
We do have a nice river though.
We sure do. we
very pretty.
sure do. And then one really old house, and
Yeah.
then
And yeah. So, anyways, if you're listening to this, you owe it to yourself to see Edinburgh Castle. It is absolutely beautiful. It frames the whole of Old Town. The whole city is like 1,500 years old. It's
Damn.
beautiful. The apartment that my sister lived in, was just casually told me it was 1,200 years old.
that's insane.
It had flooring that was 600 years old. It was beautiful.
They don't make things like they
They
used
do
to.
not. They do not make it like they used to.
Because that's nuts.
But Edinburgh Castle is very cool. It's got several different gun batteries, facing out in various defensive locations. The road leading up to it, but going to another castle, which, you go to Scotland, you can't throw a stone without hitting a castle or two.
Man, that's what I'm saying. How easy would it be for
it's
us
so
to
cool.
finance a castle?
Well,
Maybe over there.
Maybe
Maybe
over
we
there.
could. Maybe we
Can
could
we
buy a
just-
derelict
Can
one
we
that's
just
in
take one that's fallen
ill
to
repair?
pieces and
yeah,
just
you
fix it
you
up
literally
ourselves?
I went on various road trips when I was in Scotland, and we would just walk up to old abandoned castles and just go walk through it.
That's
It's
crazy.
kind
It's
of like
very
an old
cool.
farmhouse.
It is.
in
It's like
Saskatchewan.
exactly. It's just like legitimately yes. Like
They
how
have
we
that look.
like how we have old farmhouses in Saskatchewan. They have old derelict castles.
When we were talking about the white ladies, when we were talking about Dunlow Castle or whatever three
Yep.
head. I don't know what it was called,
Yeah.
but that place looked like a real shit show. I don't think that we have the money to restore something like that.
I don't think so.
We
would need
do with the loving support of our beautiful
Donate to
watchers.
our Patreon.
Yeah, it doesn't exist.
One
but-
day we'll set it up, and when we do, I expect money. I expect currency. Don't think I'm just doing this for free forever. I will sell out immediately, and I've said this from the beginning.
Yo, Manscaped, where you at?
Yeah.
I
Okay,
too
so
like to shave my balls.
there's an art to it.
There sure is, and with
something
a
beautiful.
Manscaped, what is it? The Lawnmower 3.0.
No, man,
Oh,
they're at a
4.0.
4.0. now.
4.0.
I don't know
Yeah.
what they changed.
Oh
but
my
it's-
goodness! Last I checked, they were at a 3.0.
Dude,
But
if
you
you-
can mow the
4.0.
crap out of your balls
You know
without
what?
snagging anything, and we're giving that advertisement away for free.
You know,
You get one.
and the
Everyone
best,
gets one.
the best part about it is if you're ashamed of yourself, you can do it at night because it has a nice little flashlight on it.
Yeah, you can
And
take
you
a
can
And it's
you can
it's
shave
waterproof.
you can take a Blue Chew and get that boner out of the way, so you can really access
There
your
you-
balls.
there
Dude,
you go.
that's
Which is-
also another big podcast sponsor.
So,
but that's gonna get lopped out of there for
But
sure.
but for in all seriousness, no, Manscaped, hit us up. Like, you know,
I think you need more than 30 viewers for Manscaped.
Manscaped might be.
Man, if
into
we
it.
could get 30 concurrent viewers, that'd be
Oh,
nifty.
pretty sick. Okay,
So
Edinburgh
bad.
Castle. It's absolutely beautiful. So there's this thing called the Royal Mile that leads down, and it is exactly a mile. It's a beautiful location. Every building is like 1,000 years old.
Okay.
There's like old pubs and stuff in there. Every year they hold a parade. It's very cool. So Edinburgh Castle, what they use it for today is it's mostly a tourist attraction. It's a historical site. The military does still use it. There's no like barracks or anything in there, but it's like an administrative site.
Cool.
It's very cool. I believe there's a restaurant in there. Yeah, it's
serving all the best UK food.
yeah. So you can take a tour through the dungeons, which I did, and is very cool.
Yeah.
So this castle has an incredible history. One of the things that's ghost related is this is where they burn the witches.
Ooh,
Yep.
spooky.
Yep. This was if there was a war that Scotland was involved in, the prisoners were held in the dungeons in Scotland in
Edinburgh Castle.
In Edinburgh Castle.
So you hear that, witches? You're on notice.
Well,
Well, no, we're all right with
yeah,
y'all.
I think we're okay.
You guys are cool. Come on the podcast. We
Yeah.
need more witches up in this mix because they tend to be heavily involved with the supernatural. We got some witchy candles here.
Yeah,
do.
So.
Don't like the black one, but the rest of them
rest
are
of them
fine,
are okay.
from what I've been told.
Yeah, so Edinburgh Castle, if you go through the dungeon tour, it's spooky. It's
I don't doubt it.
How
yeah.
did you feel going through there?
It was eerie. It has this like
Now-
if you ever seen a Harry Potter movie where they've got dungeons, it is
Yeah.
legitimately
I have.
very much like that.
Now, my question is are they running LED strips or are they running like full on torches?
No, it's like incandescent. I mean, when I was there in like 2004.
Yeah, so
it
LED technology.
They
is
might
not-
have Philips Hue in the mix
Yeah,
by this
maybe.
point. They might
But-
be able to
But
change the light temperature.
They tried to make it as authentic as possible. So you go
Yeah.
in there and it's like it's dimly lit, and they had like where torches would have been, they had like little incandescent lights.
Oh, cool.
They should have just gone with torches.
I feel like that might be a fire risk.
With that attitude, maybe.
For the age of the building, we're not taking any chances.
Yeah. But it's so cool. Like I could. Like this is not, Simon's vacation podcast, but
This might be Simon's vacation episode.
I could go in detail about this, and it's beautiful. The one thing I want to talk about is they have this cannon called Mons Meg, and it is the largest gun ever fired in England or in Britain. The bore is 19 inches in diameter.
That's far too large.
You could yeet a child like 2 miles.
And maybe they did.
They probably did.
Who's to say for sure? But when you were down in the dungeons, did you smell any dung? Did you smell anything that smelled distinctly fecal when you were down there? Because there's one particular ghost story, one particular stinky ghost story
Yeah.
that
Man.
takes place and is really commonly reported, I think, in a dungeon. Yeah, it was in one of the dungeons down there.
Yeah. So what happened with that is, they used to use this as a horse stables. And there were a lot of prisoners down in there, and they would poop, and they would need something to do with that. So they would take this dung and they would put it in these barrels called dung barrels, and then they would dispose of them. And some prisoner thought he had the brilliant idea that he was going to hide in one of these dung barrels, just covered in feces.
Just like the classic laundry chute scheme to get out of a prison, except he was in a dung barrel.
In a dung barrel, yeah. So he was a smelly guy.
Yeah, and in theory, considering he's a ghost of the castle, maybe he is fixed. I mean, there's no specific date tied to this or anything like that, but who's this? He may have asphyxiated in this barrel full of shit.
Yeah, most likely.
Not a great move on his part.
No, but I mean,
let's be honest. No one ever said Scottish people were smart.
So, shots fired. Jesus. Oh boy!
All of Scotland, you're on fucking notice,
and apparently us also.
Yeah.
At least a percentage of us.
Are fucking
a percentage of all of us is on notice. But you already know we're fucking stupid.
Yeah, you already know that.
Yeah.
So this guy, I mean, he was a prisoner, so he can't have been that smart to begin with, I guess.
Well, who knows? There's some smart prisoners. Yeah. We're not coming at anybody in particular.
He thought he had the idea to get out of prison by hiding in this dung barrel, and he didn't know what they did with these barrels. He thought that they just carted him off somewhere. It turns out they literally just yeeted these barrels off this 400-foot cliff into the ocean.
Oh, that was the story, right?
Yeah.
I completely invented something different.
No, so
they threw him off the side of a cliff.
They threw this boy off the cliff in a barrel full of shit.
So your last moments in life, you smell like shit and you're falling to the ground.
Yeah, and you're
have you seen the side of the cliff?
Oh yeah.
So, and how far down would you say that is?
I mean, it's like from the top of the wall to the ground, it's 500 feet. It's huge.
Can we reiterate? Scottish people, not the brightest.
Well, this particular Scotsman.
Yeah, so
who knows? Maybe it was an Englishman that was captured by Scots. I don't know.
This is, to be fair, this is most likely an urban legend.
Probably.
But
it's also very
hilarious.
Funny
this guy just got thrown off this cliff for at least 450
horrified,
feet to the ground.
Screaming, shit everywhere.
Yeah, in a zero-G shit-filled environment.
And then just a wet thing at the bottom. And he's been cursed to spend all eternity walking around the dungeons of this place, stinking like shit.
I mean, at least he's not in a barrel of shit anymore. He still smells, but it could be.
That's a commonly reported story
funny.
Talking about smelling dung.
Yeah.
And this presence walking around down there. That's the thing about a place this old. Is that a lot of these ghost stories are going to be pretty non-specific because it's so ancient that it could be urban legend or it could be very much based on a true story that was just passed down.
With 1,000 years of history, it wouldn't surprise me if somebody tried to sneak out in a fucking dung barrel.
It tracks.
Probably happened more than once, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
There might be more than one dung
Yeah.
ghost.
Like,
and they probably didn't
so
give a
funny.
They probably didn't give a fuck because who cares if they're trying to sneak out in a dung barrel? They're just gonna die anyway.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, why would you change your procedure? It works out.
Well, because at this period especially, it's not like these people were being held here for, you know, they were not really awaiting a fair trial or anything like that. It's not like they were getting out of here.
No.
They were probably going to be beheaded at some point.
Or hung. They
did a lot of
the British Empire really liked to hang people.
You know what? To be fair, though, I think hanging or being decapitated is a little bit more of a less painful death than getting yeeted down.
I strongly disagree.
Hanging has probably only in the last 150 to 200 years has only recently become okay, because there was an innovation in hanging people. Like they didn't have the hanging math to. I forget who came up with that.
I can tell you all about this. If
okay,
you want.
Hit us with it, because I'm just gonna blabber on about nothing.
Facts?
I'm a Dan Carlin aficionado.
Oh boy,
and he has an episode called Painfotainment, which is about people's relationship with pain and death and how it has been almost a spectacle in history. And hanging, the British love to hang people. This is their way of doing it. And even if you're hung properly, it sucks.
To be fair, though, probably better than being lit on fire still alive.
Yeah, probably.
Ideally,
maybe. I don't know. Suffocation would suck.
Being lit on fire, being dunked and drowned.
If you're hung properly, what is supposed to happen is you're supposed to have like 19 feet of rope or something, and you fall down, and the weight of your body snaps your neck, and you're just gone.
There's a different calculation for different people of different weights and heights too.
Yeah,
and that is newer.
That is relatively new. It's actually only relatively recently in modern history that hanging has stopped.
Yeah.
It's been a thing for a while.
They just figured out the math, though.
Yeah.
We got to keep it going.
So most people in history,
That's not the official DGBR take. We are not officially endorsing hanging. In fact, we're coming out strongly against hanging.
Brett's just going on his own on this episode.
Brett's wearing a kilt. He's really tying into his heritage.
Yeah, Brett has
here.
embraced his wild man heritage.
That's right. I've let the beard grow out. I'm returning to the wild.
Yeah, Brett is becoming a full-on Highlander.
Brett the Bruce.
Pretty soon I'll start eating mushrooms and coming at people with axes.
Oh my God.
Are you gonna become a berserker?
That's right.
Is that a? Oh, I guess Celts did that too. It wasn't just Vikings.
Yeah, it's. I'm both. I got both that in my blood.
Spencer and I are just gonna be chilling at our castle, and Brett's gonna just lay siege to it.
Brett's gonna be berserking the outside of the castle,
just trying to chop down a wall with a stone wall with an axe.
Oh my goodness!
So hanging sucks, man. For the most of history, when people were hung, they just suffocated.
Yeah.
Like, it would take minutes,
which is horrifying.
Yeah, like,
and it can take a really long time.
Yeah, it can. There's reports of people taking like 12 minutes to be hung. Sometimes when people were executed, eventually the crowd would turn on the executioner and be like, "You did this wrong," and the executioner would come up and pull on the person's feet to make them die quicker.
That's bonkers.
Yeah, so
I'm thinking decapitation might be the move.
Yeah, like that's why I was like,
said, if that gets fucked up.
Yeah, that's
not great either.
You know, dying sucks. Let's just leave it at that.
Just violent executions are no good.
It's not good.
And we're not really for it.
Even now, lethal injection is not.
It's not fun. No, it's not fun.
But
so a lot of people were executed in the central grounds of Edinburgh Castle, and there are probably some angry ghosts from that. Because I'm sure that a lot of people were not executed properly or executed for the wrong reasons. You know, good old William Wallace was executed for the wrong reasons. And
are you coming out and saying William Wallace did nothing wrong?
William Wallace did nothing wrong.
Do we know that for sure? Do we know for sure that William Wallace did nothing wrong, or are we going to find out that we're in big trouble?
He definitely killed a lot of people.
Yeah,
but they were English bastards, and we don't want them in Scotland.
I have one story about a particular and famous execution that took place on the grounds.
Okay.
It's called, so there was this event that took place at the castle. I'm not sure exactly when, year-wise, but it was in relation to King James II, who was the boy king who came in at 6 and had regents. And I think he was
me a boy king.
He was particularly ambitious. He was also a big, we've been talking a lot about artillery and guns on this one. He was a big advocate of modern artillery.
Okay.
I think he died at 32 because he was standing beside a gun, a gigantic cannon called, I think it was called the Lion. Let's see here. I have that in here.
Okay.
Yeah, he was beside a cannon called the Lion that exploded, and a piece of the cannon basically took his leg off.
Just ripped him in half.
Yeah, and he just bled to death real quick.
Oh my God, that sucks.
But prior to this, so James II was a member of the Stuart family or clan. I'm not sure which exactly.
Probably would call it a clan.
It would be a clan, yeah.
But they had some beef with the Douglas clan.
Okay.
Or family, whatever it was.
Yep.
This ain't a history podcast.
Nope.
But
we never claimed to be.
So at the age of, I think he was 10 at that point. But there was this event called the Black Dinner where King James II and his regents set up to bring in these two other guys. That the Douglas clan was gaining a lot of power in Scotland, and these two particular fellas had a lot of influence. So they invited these two. I think what was the name of the one guy? I shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, no worries.
This is I should be scrolling through this. But so King James II invited William Douglas, the 6th Earl of Douglas, and his younger brother to dine with him and his people at Edinburgh Castle.
Okay.
And they brought them in. They had this big elaborate meal. They were brought in to do that, and at some point during the dinner, they brought out a black bull's head and slapped it down on the table in front of these Douglas fellas.
Well, that is not sanitary at all.
That sounds aggressive.
Apparently, a black bull's head at this period in time was a sign of death, so they knew right away. I guess the theory was that these guys had a lot of power and maybe, in realm to threaten the king.
Sure.
So they slapped this down, and this was a big sign of death. And they knew right then and there that they were going to be executed. So they get up and they try to run for the exits. The exits are all blocked.
Of course. You don't slap down a black bull's head without doing your homework.
It's a big sign, a big fried black bull's head as well. It was cooked and crispy.
What I'm hearing,
of course, it was fried, like all Scottish food.
Absolutely.
What I'm hearing is my enemies will soon be receiving black bull heads.
I mean, they could. That's a lot of commitment to.
Yeah.
That's a frightening sign.
Some animal slaughter going on.
Hey man. I gotta send some messages to some people.
Oh God, Brett, your kill does just
war
drive you
mode.
mad.
War mode, baby.
Man, you are going to war mode. Good God,
Brett is mad with power.
I'm just returning to monkey at this point.
Once we have the castle, Brett's just gonna be the Mad King.
Oh boy,
Just
he's too old to be a boy king.
Yeah, it's true. Just I'll be drinking absinthe and losing my mind.
Oh my God,
that's the move.
So anyway, these fellas get dragged by King James II's guards and stuff like that out to the courtyard, and they're apparently found guilty of high treason without any sort of trial.
Of course, as you
do. The one who was man, I'm a jackass for doing this.
It's all good.
William Douglas, the sixth Earl of Douglas, who was the big threat, says to the executioner that he would like his brother to be killed first because he knows that his brother can't stand to watch him die, which to me seems like
that's big ego right there. That is just a big ego move. Like, no, I'm more important than my little brother. He'd be so upset.
Yeah, it doesn't really.
Both of you are dying regardless, so it doesn't matter. They could just do you both at once, and that would be fine.
Yeah.
Doesn't really seem like a merciful move to me now, but apparently it was. I mean, it's written like it was a merciful move.
Sure.
It's just a very funny request.
So they lop his brother's head off, then they lop his head off, and then everybody goes back inside and has dessert. But this particular, the Black Dinner, or the Black Bull Dinner, as it's referred to, was actually the inspiration for the Red Wedding in Game of Thrones.
I was going to say, it sounds like some Red Wedding shit.
That is what it was.
Foreshadowing, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Foreshadowing is very important to
and then
story.
I just bumbled my way through it. I absolutely fucked my way through that.
But hey, I didn't know that personally.
But sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, as far as the ghosts go, in the ghost of these fellas. Apparently, you can hear crying boys in the courtyard, and you can hear the cheers of the angry crowd.
Interesting.
Still to this day, at points.
Something I'm not a fan of is crying boys in my damn courtyard.
Yeah. I don't know.
Even if they're spectral boys, I can't say I appreciate them.
How old these boys were?
I think, what was it, William Douglas?
Yeah.
I'm not checking my phone
That's okay.
again.
That's okay.
William Douglas, the 6th Earl of Douglas, was 16. And when I was reading, it said his younger brother. I'm sure there is an age to be affixed to it, but I sure didn't write it in my notes.
So it just seems like there was just a bunch of children making decisions at this point.
Yeah, well, because I think King James II was 10 or 11 when this happened.
Yeah.
So it's just boys killing boys.
And that's sort of
it's probably adults killing boys, but boys calling the shots to have other boys killed.
You know, that kind of explains it.
Yeah.
You know, 12-year-olds with power don't exactly make the best decisions.
We end up with spectral boys when 12-year-olds have power.
Yeah, exactly.
One big advancement in politics these days is generally our rulers are geriatric. They're not children.
That's almost worse because they're just so mentally deficient they cannot make good decisions.
Yeah, or just out of touch.
Yeah.
Could be. Yeah.
I have an interesting story.
Corn Pop.
Oh man, we're not doing this.
I have an interesting story. I don't know. I got to be honest. I'm not sure if this one results in ghosts. But so you know how like the castle's built on like a huge basalt rock.
Yeah.
Right.
It's literally impermeable even to water. So in multiple sieges, the only reason that the siege ended is because they ran out of water.
Oh, really?
Because they can't get like they have a well that goes down into the rock, but it's only like 30 feet deep or 30 meters deep, I think, which is not deep enough to go like below the ground level.
Your super defensible castle has two major flaws.
Well, like
No
Helm's
water?
Deep. It has one weakness.
No water?
Yeah.
And, like, food? You're fucked.
Well, I mean, they did have huge food
There was lots of
stores.
fertile farmland
yeah.
around there.
But still, like, if you're being sieged, like, how long?
For, like, 2 years.
Yeah, you're not going to be
That's
able
literally
to...
what happened in one of these sieges. It lasted for, like, 2 years, and then they ran out of water, and, like, 2 days later it was done. Because, like, what are you going to do?
All right, guys, we're done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have it.
Yeah.
We don't care.
Everybody's dead.
No
Everyone's going home.
After this, they built huge cisterns in the castle that would collect rainwater, because it rains a lot in Scotland. So that is...
It is mostly rain.
It is mostly rain.
At this point.
Coincidentally, when I was in Scotland, the entire entire time I was there, it was like plus 30 and sunny, and my sister was like, "What the fuck? You guys are so lucky. This never happens." And I left, and it started raining again. So I picked the right time.
You're the bringer of the sunshine.
Exactly.
Sunshine Simon.
So I'm not sure if that, like, I mean, I guess where I was going with that is because this is one of the most besieged places in the entire world.
There's going to be
a lot of death.
There's going to be some damn ghosts
in
this building.
A lot of battles. A lot of there's reports of you can see some, like, I think there was a report of a beheaded soldier walking around the battlements.
There's the report of a beheaded drummer boy.
Oh yeah, that too.
If you hear the sound of drums in the distance, historically what that meant, especially in Scotland, was that you were probably about to be besieged.
My dumb question to you is, if he's beheaded, is he like, does he have his head with him, or is he just a walking body?
So you're thinking he's like the headless horseman or something like that?
Yeah, he carries his head around or something.
I think in the scuffle of battle, you would lose your head, literally.
Yeah. He
literally lost his head, but I think you just wouldn't be able to find it.
He's just, man, how shitty is it? Like, you got all these cool warriors around you, and you're just an asshole with a fucking drum.
Yeah, that does suck.
Like,
that would suck.
I think the drum ones were often kids. It was always a little boy.
Did you know that having like musicians in your battalions was common all the way up until like early mid World War One?
Well, they were bringing trumpets and drums and all kinds of bullshit around with them.
Yeah, like when World War One, this is totally unrelated, but when World War One started, they had these like
they still had little
bright, colorful uniforms. They had like trumpeters, and they would have people like playing instruments while they're charging machine guns.
Oh my goodness! Fucking sniped.
Yeah, in like 1914 was a bad year to be in the military.
It was a bad year to be a musician in the military.
It was a bad time to be playing the drums.
Yeah. Okay, so there's other ghost stories. Yes. There's one about they call them. Did we talk about this one? They call the Piper.
Yes. No, so more musical ghosts.
More music-based ghosts. So tons of music-based ghosts here.
So as you do, there are some secret tunnels underneath Edinburgh Castle,
especially like when you're constantly under siege.
Yeah,
you gotta have ways in and out. You gotta be able to get supplies and people in and out.
Well, it's not even. There's not that. This like the rock is so high that you couldn't have tunnels going in or out. But there's tunnels between buildings. So let's say one of your buildings or one of your fortifications gets taken, you could evacuate into the other building,
into another one,
or you could like send people behind enemy lines and take them out that way, right?
Okay.
So there's all these tunnels, but they were sealed off for a while. And when they rediscovered them in the year like 1605 or something like that, I want to say, to map them, they put people in every building, and they sent a piper, in this case a bagpiper, because
it's loud.
Because it's loud as fuck.
Lucky boy.
Yeah, and apparently when he was down there, he just disappeared and never came back. He probably fell into some huge hole or something.
Oh, for sure there was some hits.
And he was never found.
And he was never found again. And apparently you can still hear the sound of bagpipes coming out from these tunnels. Yeah. But I just want to say real quick, could you imagine how ear-splittingly loud it would be
if you were
in a tunnel?
If you were in a stone echoey tunnel playing a fucking 110 decibel instrument?
I've been in a building that's like very small,
yeah,
and they play bagpipes, and it is deafening.
Oh, dude, I've been to many a Robbie Burns dinner in a Legion Hall, and it's brutal down there.
Yeah.
I can't imagine, like, this basement is not particularly big. We don't have a high ceiling, but this is a stone tunnel.
Yeah, and this is, and just keep in mind, in the modern world, we're actually pretty big people. If you're a 6 foot tall dude, you're like relatively big.
You're a monster in that period.
Yeah, but
you guys taking a shot at me? I'm the only boy here that's not over 6 feet.
I'm not over 6 feet. I'm at the 6 foot level, but I'm not bigger.
Just barely over the 6 foot.
I was talking to a friend of mine, and she said, "Well, if you're not over 6 feet, people aren't interested in you." I'm like, "Yeah, but I can lift heavy weights." So at what point does lifting heavy weight overpower being tall? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I think it depends on the person.
I don't know, dude. Different strokes for different folks.
I'll just be a short king. That's fine.
Okay, so
under 5'10", hit me up.
So these tunnels, I want to highlight how claustrophobic they would have been. So
have you been in any? Like, are these open for any sort of exploration?
Yeah,
have you been in any of these tunnels?
Yeah, you can go into a few of them.
That's pretty cool.
They are super claustrophobic. So, I think imagine, you're going through a door in Edinburgh Castle, you're like ducking. Like,
right.
Yeah, like the doors were like, people were small back then.
Probably like 5'5".
Were you ducking under doors when you were a little kid going there? Because how old were you when you went?
I think I was like 12, but
Okay.
I grew stupidly fast. Like I was always the tallest kid in
So
school.
have you put on any height since 12, or did you just hit max capacity
I grew
from the jump?
so fast, dude. I was pretty much like
I peaked in grade 8, and
Yeah.
I've been the same height.
Yeah, you were taller than me for years,
for
baby.
years,
Yeah.
and then you know.
But now I cast a shadow
Then
on
everyone
you.
else hit puberty, and I
Yeah.
was stuck at 5.
So I think
10.
the doors in Edinburgh Castle are like 5'6" or something. Like they're not
wow.
huge. So you were like you're ducking down. hidden
You'd
pieces.
feel like a king there.
Yeah.
I would be.
You're
a
not.
god.
I don't know what it is with you going on about not being 6 feet. You are like.
You're, like,
I don't,
so
I don't
close,
view
dude.
you as
I'm
being.
tickling the balls of 6 feet right
You're
now.
not short.
No,
I think we're like the same height, Brett.
I
Like
You're not a short
I gotta wear
man.
my tall guy shoes, and then I'll feel better.
So these tunnels would have been super claustrophobic. Just imagine like a tunnel made for like 1 or 2 people to walk side by side, and those people are also like 5'3".
Jeez.
Like it's tiny. It's a tiny
If you
space.
think about it, it's very funny to think about just wars being waged by 5'3".
By midgets.
Just wars being fought by little fellas.
Although there were people back then who were huge.
Yeah.
There were some people who were like 7 feet tall.
Mount-
Well,
Mountainous
they
people.
like one of the swords that's really famous coming out of this region is a claymore, and they're absolutely
They're
fucking massive.
massive.
They're
Yeah.
massive and
they're like
impractical.
60 pounds.
So, like
They're
a dude who's like
massive.
5'2", 5'3", swinging a claymore on a horse, I don't think so.
No, you'd have to.
So
be
there
at
had to be
least-
some big dudes.
You'd have to be at least like 6'5".
Lots-
Like you'd have
lots
to
of
be
big
a
dogs.
There's
huge
like a couple
dude.
big dogs, and then
Yeah.
the rest of the peasant military is just like 5'2" kings.
Yeah,
5'2" short kings
exactly.
flailing at each other.
So apparently the Piper is still down in those tunnels.
I just I imagine these wars like them not having weapons because they're 5'2". They're just having slap fights in the middle of the field. That's what I imagine.
Just armored slap fights, just bitch slapping people with an armored glove.
like-
For anyone that is 5'2", we are not coming at you, and we respect you.
if you're a 5'2" man, you're a short king, but just know you're not 6 foot.
Oh boy,
I think they do know that.
they're
And they
aware.
need to be reminded daily
Oh, Jesus.
that they are short.
Man,
That
Brett
is
is
rude.
Kings.
Brett is just flailing at everybody this episode.
Brett has some Brett, do we need to talk? Like you got some anger in there today, buddy.
It comes out from time to time.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I'm
Some
not
of
allowed
that
to,
Scottish rage. Good
Yeah,
God, man.
sometimes when I'm not allowed to express myself on a podcast for a couple weeks because we've been busy.
Yeah.
And my basement floods, and I get all ticked
Oh,
about that.
I don't blame
Those
you.
5'2" men are getting it. That is my main.
Brett just likes to punch down real hard.
Brett's literally punching down this episode.
exclusively punching down. It's more holding their foreheads and watching them fail. That's what I do.
Oh my god.
So ghosts.
Oh my god.
Brett's
Okay.
not afraid of it. Brett is
5'2"
deeply afraid of
ghosts?
ghosts, but not 5'2"
5'2"
ghosts.
ghosts, they can go fuck themselves.
So in 2003, there was some restoration done to the castle. As
Yes.
like we talked about earlier, this place is constantly under construction. They're
And-
constantly refurbishing it.
And you know what? Didn't they run into some issues with some spooky
They
occurrences? during that?
did. They did. Apparently, some workers saw some weird shit. Apparently, there was some apparitions, and they felt deeply uncomfortable. And apparently, the men refused to work alone. They would not go do something by themselves.
Well, yeah, especially like I don't know. You guys like I know you work by yourself from time to time.
I work by myself most of the time.
How spooky is it when you're just by yourself most of the time? Like,
when you're not thinking about it, not that bad. But once you start letting those thoughts creep in,
once you let the bad thoughts,
you start like I work in a facility. The facility I work in isn't super old, but the facility that it's a part of started building in 1904. And I was asking some of my coworkers the other day whether there are any ghost stories, and the immediate response was like, "Oh yeah," and that I didn't like that very much.
Yeah.
See, you might run into a spooky boy one of these days, and then you'll tell me, and I'll go, "I told you, motherfucker. What did I tell you from the beginning? I told you."
I don't work a lot of nights, so
I was gonna say, do you
it's
ever
pretty
do you ever do nights
daylight.
anymore? Yeah. I
Sorry.
was gonna say, do you ever do night shifts anymore?
No, I haven't done a night shift in a very long time. Not in this particular position anyway.
It was weird. My old workplace, the only parts that were haunted, if you believe that, were the parts that were not part of the expansion. So
Right,
the
the
original
older-
building.
yeah, the original
The
buildings.
original building. but any part of the expansion, there was no weirdness going on. It was only the areas that weren't that were original to the building.
You thank those modern safety standards.
That's right. So, OSHA comes in clutch when it comes to
Thank you,
boys.
OSHA.
Yeah.
Thank you, harnesses. Thank you, all other safety equipment.
We love you.
Anyway,
we love you very much. But yeah, could you imagine being a construction worker and just like constantly being fucked with by
being in an ancient castle?
Yeah.
spirits of ghosts
By
that just
1,000-year-old
clearly
ghosts.
don't want you there.
Yeah, those
Tiny little ghostly midgets.
those are
little boys. We can't say the M word anymore, but
Oh yeah, I guess.
it's 2021.
ghostly little fellas. We're
Yeah,
little
there you
people.
go.
Little guys. Technically, they are just short kings. They are not technically dwarves.
No.
But
No, they were totally normal for their time period.
they were normal for their time period, but
Yeah.
hilarious to us.
Yeah.
If we had a time machine and we went back right now, we
could
would
you-
be giant. We would be gods.
I mean, there would be people bigger than us, but like
yes,
not many.
but not many.
Not many.
That's
Well,
why. It's so
we'd be
fun.
some sort of village oddity.
Yeah.
Anyway,
People would gawk at us. when
we'd
we
be
walked
employed by a blacksmith or something like that to
Yeah.
do some striking.
Be working the bellows.
Be some big
Man,
dogs. Not
I'd
the
be-
bellows.
I'd
We'd be
be-
working the damn hammers.
I'd
Yeah,
be
I
willing to
suppose.
work the damn hammers.
Yeah, I would.
You
that
weren't
time.
a fun blacksmith type shirt. Is
No.
that something about lifting?
No, that's a old dead gym that doesn't exist anymore.
Oh.
Rest in peace, old dead Jim.
Yeah, we don't talk about it because I don't want to invoke the wrath of the spooky Jim.
It's a cool shirt though.
It's a great shirt and a great logo, but god damn it.
Anyway, though, back to Edinburgh Castle. In 2001, Dr. Richard Wiseman, a professor of public understanding of psychology at the University of Hertfordshire in the UK, he's also a fellow for the Committee of Skeptical Inquiry,
Okay.
did this big experiment for the Edinburgh Science Festival. They carried out a 10-day ghost hunt at Edinburgh Castle. But the thing that was particularly special about this ghost hunt was all the people that volunteered to do it didn't have any sort of knowledge of the particular spots that are known to be haunted
Okay.
in the castle. So they set all these people loose in the castle. They gave them ghost hunting equipment, and they wanted to kind of find out whether people reported, spooky occurrences or feeling a certain way in the places that are known to be haunted. And what they found was that overwhelmingly they did. The areas that are known to be haunted were the ones where people experienced all these spooky things.
What did I tell you?
So, it was carried out to be a big kind of skeptic expose on the thing. Like they're trying to prove that, paranormal stuff is nonsense, but even Richard Wiseman kind of came out and said, like, there is something to be said about this. He didn't concretely say like this is proof that it's real, but it does provide some convincing evidence that maybe there is something to these claims.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, like, I've been to areas where I didn't know inherently that they were haunted, but I felt weird while I was there.
Sure.
And then afterwards I find out the history of the place and I'll go, oh,
Well, that makes sense.
well, that tracks.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt just uncomfortable as all hell.
I mean, I didn't feel uncomfortable in Edinburgh Castle at all. But
No, I don't think I would feel uncomfortable. I'd be more excited because I'm a huge
history
I was
super
super excited. Also,
Yeah.
there's people everywhere.
Yeah, see,
Right.
that's the
it's-
thing. If you're doing a ghost hunt, I
imagine
imagine
it's
most of
probably
these
at
people
night.
are at night
Yeah.
and by themselves,
Yeah.
not in the
Yeah,
the
that would be
light of
different.
day.
That would be different
Like,
for sure.
ghosts during the day, even more spooky.
Yeah. How does that even work? I mean, I guess they're not fucking vampires. They knew
No,
whatever they want.
they ain't vampires.
Yeah.
I mean, vampires aren't real. But
Yeah, like I know I
Vampires aren't real. Vampires are where you draw the line.
vampires and werewolves not real.
I
know.
can't say they're real either.
I don't
but,
know.
They're,
I don't know about
they're
any of
fun,
that.
but
I don't know about any of that shit.
I don't either.
Do Ghosts Be Real is coming out strong against vampires
Yeah.
and werewolves.
We don't like that shit.
So Twilight fans, y'all are on notice.
You're on notice.
Um,
You thought I had it out for 5'2" people. Just wait till I
God.
have it out for
Here we
vampire
go.
people.
This is
Brett's
this
gonna
is
get
our
his-
most controversial episode yet.
Brett's gonna get his claymore. Okay, so I had something, or I was gonna go with this about Edinburgh Castle, and I totally just blanked. What
That's
was
all
it?
right.
Sorry about that,
No,
dude.
it's
I
okay.
steamrolled
doing
you a little
that.
bit.
No, it's all good. Right. So, in Dungeon Tour, it's very cool. It'll take you through like the kitchens and the dungeons. You can go like there's like a whole rack of cells that you can go into and check it out. And people from like they use this for like I said, in every war there were prisoners in that castle. And people have like carved their names in the wood beams, and these are like original wood and stuff in there.
Oh wow!
So there's carvings going back like hundreds and
That's
hundreds of years. There's like I saw like an early American flag from a prisoner who was there during the American Revolutionary War.
That is also
wild. Yeah, like a very early American flag was carved in there because there was an American prisoner in there. Like,
do you know
very cool stuff.
How hard you need to be. How hard you need to fuck up to be sent to Scotland as a
how did this guy get over there?
They had to send this man on a whole damn boat.
But
he came on a ship for sure.
But keep in mind, they're a subject of Britain.
Yes,
and they were fighting Britain, so prisoners were taken. They were shipped back to Scotland, where they were used
as a funny thing to do.
Yeah, that's what they did.
That's such a waste of finances,
right?
We're gonna bring this dickhead back here and put him in a dungeon.
Yeah, for what reason? But anyways,
for what reason, right? Because
like, what reason?
When the war's over, does he get to go back?
Leave it to the Americans to be defacing a heritage building.
Well, I mean, it's in a cell. You can't really blame the guy for carving a flag in there.
He needed something to do.
Yeah, he'd have to do something.
I mean, he could have just sat there and wallowed like every other prisoner. But
wallow, damn it!
But instead, he's got that American pride and had to ruin a damn cell.
We really are coming out strong against. We really shouldn't be doing this.
That's what you say, but I am totally for it. I will take all the heat on this one.
Shaw's just not going to air this episode.
I will take all the heat on this one. 5-2 people, vampire people, Americans. You're on notice.
You're gonna knock it off with all this knocking people who are shorter.
You're on notice.
You're on Nordis.
You're on Nordis.
Oh my God.
Well, I mean,
so what other ghosts do we have at Edinburgh Castle?
Well, they've got you know how we had a white lady episode.
Yeah, they have a gray lady.
Yeah, they don't have a white lady, but they do have a gray lady.
Now, what is it about a gray lady that's different than a white lady?
Well,
I'd imagine the color of her dress.
She's a slightly darker color.
I'd imagine. If I was to take a guess.
Yeah, he got me there. It is a different shade. So.
Other than that, I don't know. Apparently, the lady is named Janet Douglas.
Okay.
And she.
She's a Douglas as well.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. And she. Okay, so she tried to poison the king.
Well, that's just not a smart
She was also accused of witchcraft. So they tortured her family to get information on her. And then, those people, I guess they just said anything at that point.
Because they don't want to be tortured any
basically
longer.
They just wanted something on this lady. And once they got what they needed, they burned her at the stake in Edinburgh Castle. She was
cool.
Her 16-year-old son was forced to watch, apparently.
Crispy.
Great.
Yeah, some crispy. Yeah.
I think if you were a woman who was being persecuted at this time in this area, you were probably being You were probably accused of being a witch.
You were most likely being set on fire.
Yeah.
You weren't getting the easy way out of being hung.
The witch trials were real,
easy way out.
The easier. I mean, I don't know. I'd rather not burn to death. Personally, that's a great fear of mine.
Yeah. But anyways, apparently after her execution, this gray lady started appearing, and she's a vengeful soul. You can hear a knocking sound while she walks through the hallways. And
knocking on
so is there like poltergeist activity associated with this?
Yeah, well, she will knock people off of walls. And
damn.
She needs to chill.
Yeah.
So if you're doing any sort of construction in Edinburgh Castle, be mindful of those ladders because she's going to be trying to knock you down.
She also really doesn't like men. She'll try and fuck you up. I think she mostly just goes for men.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
My spooky wife. I found her.
Well, I mean, if you want to
she might be thousands of years old, but she's mine.
If you want to get pushed off the battlements,
I mean, whatever. What's a little fall amongst friends? God, how annoying would that be? You're trying to go through a tour and you're just getting bullied by a ghost.
Yeah, can you imagine? I paid for this.
At this point, if she's just pushing you, it's
I guess it depends on what you went there for. If you're there for some sort of spooky tour, that might be what you're looking for.
That might be what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So you boys know how I like ghost videos. I'm gonna meander hard.
Man, this has been Meander City. So go ahead.
But I was watching a ghost video. And it's in England, so I kind of tracks.
England specifically, or the UK?
We'll call it the UK because I don't know all the various different.
Yeah, we're gonna. If Chris ever listens to this, he's gonna be ticked.
Yeah, most likely.
I don't care. I don't even know the guy. But I was watching a ghost video, and they've been
Brett's on fire today.
they like their house has been haunted, and they've been documenting this for a while. I think it's called Really Haunted is their YouTube channel.
Okay, shout out.
And I'm just watching because it's at night, right? So they have night vision, and I watch the dude's wife just get yanked out of the fucking bed.
Damn.
And it made me laugh so hard because it was just so unnecessarily aggressive.
Wow.
Like, their videos are crazy because you'll see like their big sectional couch like this just get fucking yeeted across like not thrown but just like dragged across the floor.
That's pretty
stuff
wild.
like that.
You're not seeing any ropes or anything like that in this
not
video?
that I can see, but I mean
the got some
amount
super strong fishing twine.
You would need some pretty strong twine, but yeah, you'll see cups get just like whipped at the ground.
Wow.
It's always funny because the thing always fucks with them while they're sleeping. Like, the dude will just be laying on the couch sleeping. And I don't know why, because he did, like, perfectly good bed, and the ghost will just, like, pull the couch or pull the blanket off of him and just fuck with them.
So do they have an actual haunted house? Or
yes.
Yeah.
Like, they don't know where it's from. They just, like, moved into this place and then started getting fucked with.
Okay, so this is... we did an episode about... Oh, my God.
Which one was it? Was it the Sally house?
Yeah, no.
Is that what we're talking about?
Was the one where they had the camera crew in there?
The Sally House had a camera crew in there. They had sightings.
This is a modern day Sally House, basically, and they have cameras now.
Well, Sally House was modern day too.
They set it up so there's like live cameras or whatever all throughout the house.
That's kind of what I meant.
You mean like
webcams and shit?
Yeah, they have like a bunch of Nest set up.
Shout out Amazon Nest.
Hey man, we love Daddy Bezos.
Google Nest. Actually.
Shout out Google Nest. Sorry, Amazon.
Yeah.
Amazon,
sorry, Google.
We like Alexa. So
please don't pull our podcast off your platforms because I mischaracterized y'all.
I don't think there's much chance of that.
Anyway, so Edinburgh Castle. Is there anything else we can say about this, or is it just general spookiness?
I've got more like cool facts and historical stuff, but I think we sort of exhausted all the ghosts.
The ghosts are very hard to antiquate in this one.
Yeah.
Just know that anytime you go to a place where there's a lot of dead ass people, because trust me, castles, there's a lot of spooky things going on,
a lot of murder,
and the fact that it's so echoey, like I'd imagine because it's made out of stone, it's just like so echoey.
Yeah, it would be today.
Yeah.
There wasn't a whole lot of insulation back in those days, so what they would do is they would hang very thick, heavy tapestries all over the inside of the walls, and so
that they could do their podcasts without any sort of strange echoing and feedback and stuff like that.
That's basically what they use for insulation, is they had super thick tapestries, and so that would deaden a lot of that sort of
thing. Yeah, for sure. But like even now, like you're walking through there and you hear a bang. Well, that could be someone like super far away.
Yeah,
but it could be a lot of things.
It could be a lot of things.
I don't know. My brain immediately goes if I hear a noise that is not.
At least you know it's not the plumbing.
Yeah, there's no plumbing.
There's no plumbing.
So
yep. I mean, just pooping over the wall.
Man, sometimes you gotta poop in chutes.
Yeah,
like
we're gonna have one of those. By the way, we're gonna have the most contaminated moat on our castle. We're just gonna poop into it.
We're gonna get, if there's like some sort of housing association in the neighborhood that we decide to destroy with this castle.
We're gonna put them in the fucking dungeon, man. They don't get
if there's a housing association, they better like crossbows because they're gonna get pelted with bolts.
We're gonna have some cannons.
They're gonna bring us like in front of the housing council or whatever, and they're gonna have all kinds of complaints, and we're gonna show up in full chainmail and
like that guy who showed up to Lauren's work at the zoo the other day.
Goodness. Yeah.
We're gonna be him.
Just some fella in scale mail and a helmet who walked through the zoo.
You guys will be doing that. Meanwhile, I'll be
pretty
wearing
nifty
a kilt covered in animal blood, screaming.
Oh my God.
Brett's going a little bit further back in history.
Yeah.
I will have axes. This will be wild. I will be on hallucinogens.
Okay.
This will be happening. So the Homeowners Association may leave us alone.
Brett, we're going to put a lock on your door.
And it's going to be on the outside.
It's going to be on the outside of your door. Yeah.
You just allow me to return to my berserking roots.
We're just going to feed you a steady diet of
I will be
mushrooms.
raiding and pillaging, just so you guys are aware.
Okay.
Of magic mushrooms and just loose meats.
Yeah, exactly. Just mutton and psilocybin.
I will be terrorizing the local Walmarts. I will be raiding and pillaging Walmarts.
Can we make this a DGBR feature where we just go into Walmart like just naked from the waist up, just with kilts and
I will be arrested immediately.
We're gonna go do some shopping.
That might be one way to get our views up.
Yeah,
I will be arrested immediately.
Yeah,
because I will also be covered in animal blood.
Well, okay.
I gotta do it.
So this one's been all over the fucking map. This one has been absolutely wild.
So Edinburgh Castle.
So what I've taken from this episode is there's totally ghosts in that castle, but also Brett just wants to become.
Brett just wants to
wild
sling
man.
shit at everybody and anybody today.
Yeah.
I'm feeling spicy.
Brett is a wild boy today.
Your gym got wrecked, and you went a few days without working out, and you are ticked off.
Hey, all that testosterone has to go somewhere.
I know. Well, the part of the problem too is I go and work out yesterday after everything is fixed and looks great, and I end up pulling a muscle in my abdomen, so now I can't work out for a few days. So I'm going to be extra heated.
That might also that might put a strain on your pillaging too, though.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you've got a chink in your armor, my dude.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm broken and getting old. So
yeah, I know how that goes.
So Edinburgh Castle, do you have any more thoughts on this?
You should go see it.
Yeah,
that's all.
I really want to go to Scotland in general.
So cool,
because I've never been.
It's so cool. It is legitimately one of the coolest experiences of my life. Is just taking a bus around through Edinburgh and just stopping at cool places. Like, it's so unlike anything else that you have here.
Isn't Edinburgh a little stabby?
No, I think you might be thinking of like
or is it Glasgow
or Dublin? Like Glasgow's anywhere in Britain.
They don't really do gun crimes in Britain because there aren't guns.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of guns, but there are a lot of knives.
Right.
I mean, obviously, just be careful. Like, we didn't have any problems.
I'd imagine because you were a whole ass family.
I'm thinking
it was
that
just my mom and I.
Yeah, but still, I mean,
you're not getting into any shit. I don't think that any part of Scotland is like Tijuana.
No,
I think as far as things go, as a group of dorks who are looking to go check some stuff out, go to Scotland. It's probably pretty nifty.
The bobbies will be there very quickly.
Those nifty cops with their funny hats.
That's actually an English thing, not a Scottish thing.
Are those beef eaters? No, beef eaters are the ones with the fuzzy hats that are like royal guards, right?
I do have an interesting crime story, I guess, but this was from Ireland. This is unrelated.
Hit us with it.
It's about the same area.
I mean, I think an Irish person would be very offended that you just said that, but that's okay.
Fucking
no,
me.
No more.
We're really limiting our audience on this.
I am Scottish, English, and Irish.
Yeah, me too.
So I'm just a mess of a human being.
I'm a mutt.
All my inside parts are trying to kill each other. It's a real disaster.
So back to Simon's Vacation podcast.
Yes.
We were walking through Dublin in Ireland, and it was a Friday night, and I don't know if you know this, but Dublin is a boisterous place. They love to party.
That is party central in Ireland, right?
The river going through it, and I'm gonna butcher this. I totally forget the name. It's very famous.
Doopity-dee potato server?
No, that is not it. I really want to know.
Look it up, dude. I did some stumbling on my phone.
But there's a river running through this place, and people puke in it like all day.
It's just a river of vomit.
Hang on, I got it. I really want to know.
It was bad.
Oh my goodness.
I really want to know. I don't know. And the Liffey River. That's it. That's what it's called. So people puke into the Liffey River.
That's beautiful.
Like we were walking through there at like 8 p.m. and there were people spilling out of bars, like just vomiting,
just
freely,
spraying fluids into the freaking river.
The Liffey River smelled so bad. But anyways, so we were outside this bar, and it was probably like we were just walking past. And it was probably like 9 p.m. at this point, and this place was packed, just spilling outside. Like the biggest party you've ever seen in Saskatchewan, basically by our standards.
I mean, you have a funny story about it.
I do have a funny story about that.
And
we'll tell that later. We'll get that in. We'll talk that in later. That'll be the bonus features for this episode. Okay, so we were walking through there, and then we, about an hour later, we're still going through there, and it's dark by this point, and my sister and brother-in-law were with us, so there was 4 of us. And we're walking around seeing the sights. We stopped in at a pub and got something to drink.
Did your mom let 12-year-old you have a Guinness?
I think I had a sip of someone else's. Like
that's fair enough.
Like I could have been.
Yeah, because it's legal there.
I could have been served alcohol, but like I didn't really care, and my mom was like, maybe don't. So
get this this small boy licked up.
I was
include your.
I guess you weren't a small boy, so to speak. You were a big small boy.
And my age was small, but I was a big fat kid. Let's be honest. There.
I feel that.
I was a chubby boy. But anyways, so we're walking through there, and suddenly we hear a bunch of sirens, and they go in the direction that we were coming from. And while we're walking back, we come up on this police line, and they're like, yeah, you can't go in there because someone got shot.
Ooh.
Someone got shot outside that bar. We were like a block away.
They have more guns in Ireland than they do
Ireland
in Scotland,
has
right?
a rougher cadence is the word. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
Just
rougher
their
rougher.
recent history is considerably
Yeah.
rougher because
Yeah.
like Catholics and Protestants have been bad. I think that's over mostly, is it not?
Yeah.
Like the
I-
IRA isn't
If you ask them, it still
the
exists.
border is still militarized.
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, like we went through the border between Northern Ireland and Ireland proper.
Wow.
And there's still
I don't think
soldiers.
they'd like
There's
the fact
still
that you just called it Ireland proper.
well,
It's all
That-
one spot.
like okay, like if you're an Irish person, it's all Ireland. But
Yeah.
the British government would say that Northern Ireland is theirs.
these
It's a
people are
different thing.
animals.
And,
Is Northern Ireland Catholic controlled?
yeah.
Yeah.
I believe
Okay, so that's,
Yeah,
where
that's
the
where the
IRA
IRA
was
are. Yeah.
operating out of.
Actually,
Putting
actually,
knocking
I think
car
it's-
bombs
I think
into
it's-
shit.
Yeah, so the IRA wanted a unified Ireland.
Yes, that's what
Okay.
they
And
wanted.
they were not a fan that there's a Northern Ireland.
I don't know what the fuck's going on over there. I'll take your word
But
for
they
it.
like even relatively recently, there's
Man.
been violence
How,
there.
how funny is white terrorism?
Man,
We're not going to comment.
No
on
terrorism
this.
is
no,
funny.
No
Brett,
comment. Brett,
knock it off.
bonk.
It's so funny.
Bad.
I got
It's so
I
funny
got
to me.
bonked for not using butter and stuff. And Brett's advocating terrorism
No,
over
no,
here.
I'm not advocating. I'm saying
No.
how
No,
funny-
No
nope,
more.
nope.
No more. Okay, so
especially when they talk.
No, no,
to-
no. We're not talking about this.
Ireland, you're on notice.
So I have a
Brett,
Oh my
Brett,
God.
you're on notice.
apparently,
yeah,
I'm
seriously.
going to be murdered.
He's not allowed,
Seriously.
from here on out. Brett's not allowed to wear a kilt on the
Yeah.
show because it's bringing some things out of him.
on
the
DGBR.
darkness is coming out.
On DGBR, kilts are banned. We're no longer allowing free balling on.
Okay, we'll allow free balling, but as long as you're
You
wearing
gotta have them in a pair of
pants,
slacks,
Yeah,
my
you
man.
gotta have some
Have
nice
you noticed I
slacks.
haven't wowed out in pants?
It is
Yeah.
true.
I'm just saying.
No more kilts.
No more kilts.
Okay, so if you get the chance, please go to Old Town Scotland. Go to Old Town Edinburgh. It's
Yeah.
absolutely gorgeous. Go see the Royal Military Tattoo. It's very cool. Go see the castle in Edinburgh. It's absolutely beautiful. It towers over the whole city. I heard that like 70% of visitors to Edinburgh go to the castle. It's a busy place. It's very cool.
I bet.
Yeah, go see that big ass cannon. Oh yeah, I had a story about that. So Mons Meg, the first time it was fired, what happened is they dragged it up to this castle. I forget what castle it was, but it was in England during one of the wars that they had, one of the many wars. And at the site of this cannon, they surrendered.
Oh,
Literally,
really?
Yeah,
Just
Wow.
not-
At the
dogged
site,
it.
yeah, they were dragging this cannon, and this
Fuck this.
cannon was.
What is that? What is that?
Yeah, what is that?
We're out.
Like
Uh-oh.
I said, it's the largest gun ever fired in England. And
It's just
at-
the
at-
it bomb of
It
that
is,
time.
yeah. And at the site of it, they surrendered, but then they fired it anyway because they wanted to see what it could do. So this cannon.
Pull the sneaky on them.
Yeah.
They violated a surrender.
Yeah.
Did they fire it in the like away from them, or did they still fire it at
Oh
them?
no, they fired it at them.
That is so fucking funny. That is the
jackasses.
move.
Hey, the Scottish did not like the English.
We didn't see the flag.
They didn't care that they surrendered. So I mean, it was called an artillery piece, but from what I understand, what they told me at the castle was that this was a breaching device.
Okay.
They would use this to break down doors, and it fired a 500-kilogram ball of stone.
Holy hell.
And it would lob it. And the first time they fired it, it went straight through the castle,
Oh wow.
Whoops.
like through all the walls. Like through the door, through the interior walls, through the exterior walls, and then they went and found it, and it was like 2 miles away.
That's so funny.
Like this
Guys-
is we're talking
guys-
the interior
guys,
is 19 inches.
We
It's
give
like,
up.
It's like this. It's
Shit.
huge.
It's just like,
It's
guys,
huge.
Probably some ghosts as a result of that.
Yeah.
The English were like, "Wait, we're done. We're done.
Yeah, we're-
guys, what
Guys,
are you doing?
we're done. We're
Knock
no boom, and yeah, so that happened.
We said no, and you guys just.
And then
decided to
the
not
last
listen.
time the cannon was fired, I think it was in like 1603. It was fired ceremonially for most of the time, but last time they fired it, one of the iron bands burst.
Ooh.
And it was never used again. It was sent to the Tower of London as a historical artifact, and it was refurbished, and now it's back in the castle. But yeah, it's very cool. It's the biggest gun I've ever seen.
Damn.
It's crazy.
And Edinburgh Castle is basically the Tower of London of Scotland.
It is,
Yeah,
yeah,
more or less.
It is, yep.
It's very cool,
The
though.
Scottish crown jewels are held there. Like I said, you can go see
Right.
them. They are
And
magnificent.
I keep saying we need
Brett's
to heist
gonna get
them.
shot. Brett's gonna get shot. Seriously, they don't fuck around. You're not gonna get out. You're not gonna
What
get
if
them
I
out of
ask
there.
nicely?
I mean, you could if you found the right buyer, you could sell those for billions of dollars. Like they are priceless.
You're gonna have to do that on the
I
deep dark web, though,
I'm
because because
gonna need to
presumably
find me a nice Tom Cruise to make a whole mission out of it.
Exactly. We're gonna pull an ocean.
Yeah, I thought
Impossible?
you didn't mess with short kings.
I didn't say I don't mess with him. I'm just saying he's getting less money.
Tom Cruise would like you to know that he's very tall.
He's very tall and very handsome and not insane at all.
He's also definitely not asexual.
Heh.
Actually, though, Tom Cruise is a cool guy. He's a hard worker. We're not going to knock Tom Cruise on this
He's
show.
a very short kid.
I'm so excited for Top Gun, and if I get banned from seeing Top Gun 2 because of this, I'm going to be so upset.
I hope Xenu gets your ass.
No. Anyways,
All right.
go see the Royal Mile. It's very cool. Go to Scotland. I highly recommend it. It's like one of the coolest places on earth.
You might run into some ghosts, which is
Yep.
what this podcast is about. Despite the fact that this episode was a little bit light on ghosts.
There's only so many
ghosts there.
That is
there,
true.
So at the base of the castle, there is they call it the Witch's Well. And it was built as a monument to all the poor ladies who were burned at the stake in Edinburgh Castle. I'm not sure if that's haunted or not. I wasn't able to find anything
I
on
would
that.
assume if you're haunting or if you're burning some ladies that there's going to be some ghosts that are pretty ticked.
Very
off.
likely.
I think that's pretty much it for my.
Yeah.
I think that's got to be it before Brett starts throwing haymakers at any other groups
other than
of
that,
people.
there's only a couple other things I want to say. The castle. I mean, I've said this so many times, but it's so cool. But the floors are like the stairs have. They're so old. Like some of the places have original stairs, and they're so old that they're like worn down in the center.
Oh wow,
by,
the
like,
stone is worn out.
by like so the. Keep in mind these people were smaller, so the steps aren't that big to begin with, and then like there'll be like a 3 or 4 inch dip in the center just from people walking on them for like 1,000 years.
That's super cool.
It's very cool.
I think that's something we're definitely missing in Canada as a whole. Is we don't have like, I know there's a few like old. Pretty old bars and stuff around the city, but not in comparison to
old in terms of like 1960.
Yeah,
but you do see some of the wood has worn down and stuff,
for sure,
which is very cool.
Which happens with wood, but stone,
like in the Besborough, cool. You can see there's a little bit of that, but it's
very cool.
But it's not like 400 or 500 years of footsteps. It's cool.
It's not 400.
It's early 1900s.
Yep. Anywhere you like Old Town Edinburgh, like seriously, I can't even say how many times. It's so cool.
See, I would love to go there just to go there.
Yeah.
But
I would like to live there for like 3 months and just explore the whole place.
To be fair though, after this podcast, I may not be able to get a passport.
Yeah, I feel like Brett's just going to be banned from Scotland.
I will be considered a flight risk.
Yeah.
All this talk of animal blood and berserking
and trying to steal the crown jewels.
Yeah.
They may not like
I don't know.
me.
I think that was Do Ghosts Be Real number 10.
Yeah, I think it sure was.
I think we have a little bonus story for you, but I think that's the end of our actual
Yeah, we got
podcast.
a little bonus for you. Simon went to a pretty wild.
I went to a pretty wild party. Yeah, it was fun. So every year in Hudson's in Saskatoon throws a block party. They basically just block off the street. And there's like, there's some stuff going on. There's a big dance floor. There's a big
It's in pretty close proximity to the Besborough as well.
Yeah, it's right in front of the Besborough. And this time I do some work for Hudson's. I do some of their tech support. And one of the managers was super grateful that I showed up just like that to get their stuff ready before their big night. And they gave me some VIP passes. So some friends and I got in, passed the line and everything. It was pretty great. So we're on the dance floor and we're all having a good time. It's probably like 11:30 at night at this point. And let me just say that at this point, the porta potties in the back were kind of gross.
Yeah, well,
and there was a line to get up in there. So we're on the dance floor, and keep in mind, there's probably like on this street, like the line to get in there was a block and a half long.
Damn.
So there's a lot of people.
Shout out Delta variant.
Oh yeah. We're big fans of super spreader events here.
Oh, for sure.
To be fair though, I'm all vaxxed and stuff.
Yeah, but, we all are.
We all are, so that's why we're able to.
That's the only reason I was there.
We're able to pod every week.
So we're like deep in the dance floor, and for some reason they had like a table set up at this area. There's like a table and chairs, and some guy was like hefting a table and like just partying with it. I don't know. There's some wild shit happening. But there's a garbage can next to this table, and somebody was gonna puke. And so my friend runs over with his garbage can. I'm like, what are you doing? And so I follow him, and he's like, yeah, she's gonna puke. And I was like, okay. And then she winds up not puking. But then there's this other girl who was there. She looked like a perfectly nice, normal girl. I guess she really had to use the bathroom. And she's like,
she may have had a couple drinks.
She may have had a few drinks. She's like, okay, like don't look. And everyone's like, what do you mean don't look? And I thought she was gonna puke. She just like turns around, pulls her pants down, bare ass, like in the middle of like 400 partying people.
Oh,
just,
my goodness.
Just pisses into this garbage can.
Good God.
And the reactions from people around us, basically everyone was like, holy shit.
Stay classy, Saskatoon.
What the fuck? And
I mean, to be fair though, that might be my future wife you're talking about.
well, you know what? You do you, man. She seemed like a nice girl. However, right after this, some other girl came up to her and was like, you realize that there's like 50 people staring at you and there's a dozen phones pointed at you right now.
What a nightmare.
That girl just disappeared. I looked away for like I was like, are you seeing this? And I looked back and she was just gone.
You know what? And
never
I
to be seen
appreciate
again.
someone who can say a good Irish goodbye.
And on that note, should we drop our socials in here?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I
I'll
suppose
go
we
for
probably
it.
should have done that before that wild story.
Again, as we always say every week, if you have anything you want to talk to us about, our email is always open. doghostsbereal@gmail.com. Please send us your lovely stories or even topic ideas because you know what? Sometimes your boys need a little bit of help.
We do.
We got some TikTok stuff going on at Do Ghosts Be Real podcast on TikTok, and our classic, which I love to say every week, our Instagram at do.ghosts.be.real.
You know, we could just say it's Do Ghosts Be Real with periods instead of spaces. I think people would figure that out.
We could say that.
We could do that, but it's more fun to say.
I think
we
could just keep the running gag going.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, please, find us on. We're still on Apple Podcasts.
Still not on Apple Podcasts.
But
We'll get there soon.
But we're on. I mean, we've been saying that for a while.
But
I'm going to
this
say it
time,
again.
It'll happen
It'll
eventually.
happen. So yeah, we're on Amazon Music. We're on Google Podcasts. We're on Spotify.
We're
on YouTube.
Obviously.
Subscribe.
If you're watching,
hit the bell
please
icon.
subscribe.
Is that what all the YouTubers say? Subscribe and hit the bell icon.
Hit the bell icon
Smash
to be
that like button.
hit the bell icon to be notified whenever
if you
we
want
put
to be
something
notified.
Yeah.
We'll have new lovely content coming soon. So please check us out.
We're planning some big stuff for Halloween.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some stuff going down anyway, folks. This has been a meandering, outrageous hour and a half long episode, somewhat about ghosts, but we've had a fun time.
We got there. At
Mostly
some point.
about Little Simon's vacation, but it was fun.
It was a damn good vacation.
Hell
I
yeah.
think it was a damn good podcast.
I think so too, guys.
It was a good time. You threw some fire at people.
You gotta throw some heat sometimes.
Yeah,
man.
so no offense to anyone out there that Brett threw fire at. It was all
Heavy
jokes and it
offense.
was all bit.
we like to poke fun. We're wild boys, but don't take us seriously.
So this has been Do Ghosts Be Real. Thank you so much, and tune in next week for whatever it is that we're doing.
See ya.
Bye.